Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel, whatever it may be. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Um, Today, we are again going to go over the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Lilly and Jack Sullivan have been missing since May 2nd, 2025. They went missing from Lansdowne Station Road, or sorry, Garlock Road in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County. Um, they were last seen on May 1st, as per RCMP, and evidence of that. And they are still missing. They are still missing. And this case is a very bizarre one. There is uh, just lots of craziness that surrounds this case. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but you know what I'm getting at. So what we're going to do today is go back to the beginning, and we're pretty much going to go over everything from the beginning until now, what we know if you've been following this case, um, and but put it in order, put everything in order, because everything that we know of this case came at different times. So something that we may have learned that, happened on the second, or that somebody was a witness to, or whatever the case may be, we may have just found out last week. So let's go back to the beginning, put it in order each day, starting with the first up until what we know now. In a proper order of sequence. Hi, Carolyn. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everyone for being here. Feel free to chat if you want while I'm going through this. or stay in the bushes if you wish. That's up to you. Um, I'll give a little time before we get started to allow people to arrive. Hi, AI Henry. Thanks for being here. Shalom, shalom to you as well. Um, I'll show you Lily and Jack while we're just giving a little time here. They're precious. They are absolutely precious. Yeah. Missing since May 2nd. Last seen May 1st. Lily is 6. Jack is 4 if I didn't say that. Hi Mandy, thanks for being here. Oh, that's awesome. You caught alive. Happy Friday, New Brunswick. I used to live in New Brunswick, you know. Yeah, I lived in Riverview, and then we moved from Riverview to Hillsborough. And I loved living in Hillsborough. It was so beautiful, and we were right along the Bay of Fundy. I loved it. Trudels or Truddles? Hi, thank you for being here. Lindsay, thank you for being here. Hi, Nova. Thanks for keeping the awareness up for Jack and Lily. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a must, I think, until things are resolved. Um, you moved from Riverview to St. Paul, New Brunswick. Cool. Yeah. I used to live right by where the pool was, just up the road from the pool. I had the kids down at the pool every day in the summer. They arrested Jake and Rebecca Harrow for suspicion of red rumming. We got to watch our words on YouTube. Just remember, their 7 month the their 7 month way is Malay and Daniel here in Canada have not been arrested. Um, that poor little baby, and he already had charges on him for harming. I believe it was his child, another child, um, that someone else cares for now. And these are the things that I find upsetting. These are the things I feel need to change. The systems out there to protect children, and not trying to lay blame. I just feel there's things that need to be changed, and there's nothing wrong with anyone taking a look at something and saying, okay, we need to change this, we need to do better. And the time spent incarcerated for crimes like this, crimes of, I don't want to say the word, but actual crimes against women and men as well, um, and youth. Um, these crimes need to be more harsh. There's Yeah, we love that pool too. There's crimes that um, receive more sentencing and are less problematic and do not they may not be a crime that is going to be a repeated repetitiveness, whereas crimes like this are known. They're going to be repetitive. So 6 months in jail or 6 years or whatever it was he had, neither is appropriate. Hi, Nova and chat. Took me a minute to get a connection on the beach. Happy to know you're on the beach. Happy to catch a live and that you're keeping the Jack and Lily case alive. Well, thank you. In my opinion, they found something. That's why they were arrested. Yeah. Well, I wonder that the clothing in the dumpster there, wonder what that had shown. Uh, yeah, and some other stuff. And apparently the camera, it showed her going down supposedly getting hit, but it didn't show that the baby was even there. Yeah, the whole thing is suspicious for sure. Um, yeah. So, shall we get into this or what? Um, yeah, welcome to anybody else who just came in. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go right back to the beginning, which would be May 1st. Now, um, I have it all written down. I started this a while ago, and for some crazy reason, I thought I could, I thought of it, and then I thought, okay, I'll just whip that up tonight, and that'll be my live tomorrow. Well, yeah, right. Um, there is so much information on this, and I went through it and through it and through it because I wanted to make sure that it was very thorough and that I didn't miss anything. Now, chances are I probably did miss something, but I'm hoping I did a pretty good job. um, and as far as the receipts, I'm gonna start off by telling you where the receipts come from, but I'm not gonna pull up every receipt because it's just gonna take too long. However, if most of you follow me, you've already seen the receipts in my past videos, or if you've watched It's a Crime and Shame, you've seen the receipts there. So, you can either go back to my videos to see those receipts yourself, um, or go to It's a Crime and Shame, and and kudos to them um, for gaining, a lot of those receipts as far as text, anything. I didn't do a lot of stuff that's through text messages and stuff like that because the last article that came out by the Globe and Mail had actually discussed anything I would have wanted to discuss through text. So I was able to just pull that from actual media because they had used that in their article. But most of us have seen those receipts, and we know that that's what they used as well for receipts. But as far as the 911 call, you guys know I did a video on that, and I show the receipt for that, the screenshot of the 911 call, not the actual call. It's a screenshot of when the 911 call was made. The receipts for the school app that shows when they were called sick out of school. Um, anyway, things like that. Um, and each specific article, I'm not going to pull up every article to show you the receipt of what I'm talking about. Um, everything that I have that I'm going to speak of uh, is referenced from news articles. Um, media on TV, and evidence by like the school app, the screenshot of the 911 call, stuff like that. So you can take my word for it in this video that it all came from that. And like I said, you can go back and watch my videos or go to It's Crime and Shame for the receipts of like texts and the screenshots and stuff like that. Okay. Um, and it'll help it to flow better and go through it. Now, what I thought would be best to do is go through all this today, and then because I when I put this together, I didn't want to muddy it with all of the contradictions and the untruthfulness and all of that we've eventually found out if you've been following this case. Um, and I don't, it'll become too confusing. So I really tried to stick to what we know as is, factual. And I did put some of Daniel's stuff in there, but I didn't put stuff from every single article and all his text messages and all his interactions on YouTube and because although it's fact that he did that. We've eventually found out a lot of it is contradicting, and is untrue. So I just didn't want to muddy that. I didn't want to put that into what we know as fact. I didn't want to muddy the facts too much. So, um, so I thought perhaps we could go through all of this, and then on the next live, that we then can go through where the um con the things that contradict each other, the things we found out that were untrue, we could then go over that and kind of do it in two separate sections. I just think that would keep it uh, easier to follow, less confusing. Um, Good old Jimmy Dolly is like, yes, I heard that. And he took a Cookie Monster and started like a place to set things. Good old Dolly is live on site in LE. They're searching property now for poor little Emmanuel. Oh, my God, it's heartbreaking. Like, I don't understand. Like, why do people do this stuff? Like, and how? Like, how could you? Like, where does your brain not stop you from doing something so horrific? You know? I just don't get it. Lindsay, questions I was going to try to dig up if you have the answer is when exactly was the blanket found in the tree? Me and Kent argued. Oh, yeah, you had a good debate, I'm sure. um, well, that's going to be in here. So, uh, yeah, and I know there was confusion over that because I had tried to in Sunny's chat, I know one day they were saying the wrong date, and I was saying that's not the day the blanket was found. Uh, the people that found it said it was found on this day, and they're no, no, it was found on this day. And I said, well, I'm going to go with the people that found it and the date that they're saying, right? I try to go straight from the horse's mouth, right? And it was the day that I was saying, and so there was confusion there. So uh, yeah, and I at first thought it was the original date that everybody did as well until I picked up on the people that found it spoke and the date that they were saying. And I take notes and I write everything down. So I'll look back and go, oh, I've got the such and such there, and I'll cross it out and put, especially if it comes straight from the horse's mouth. I should say had a yes, exactly, had a healthy debate. Yeah. Uh, I'm not sure. I could swear I heard Saturday, but I'm being told I'm wrong. And I was going to dig. But if Nova already did, saves me some digging. Yeah, yeah, I got her. I got her. I got it all covered. Don't worry. The RCMP say the first day. Volar Vortex, thank you for being here. Uh, yeah, was it Friday or Saturday? Yeah. Well, I will say you are correct. It was the first day of the search, not on May 1st. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, yeah. Well, they already corrected themselves on that, but when you're taking so much information in and then you have information contradictions there, and now you got that in your head, and um it all just becomes very, very distorted and confusing. I keep very good notes, and because I have a very bad short-term memory. If you guys ever noticed that, uh, I've noticed it's things I've caught on to that when I go back and listen to it live, and I'll go, oh, I'll start laughing at myself because I'm like, oh my God, that's how my memory is so short term. Because I'll ask a question, I'll say something, and then somebody in the chat's answering it, and I don't even remember that I said that. And I'm like, what are you saying that for? But anyways, I keep very good notes. I go over them all the time. Um, and I don't work. I'm retired due to health conditions, so I have time to go over this and over this and over this. Yeah. Okay, Saturday then, but they searched on Friday. Um, no. Well, okay, so the kids went missing on Friday, right? That's the day the blanket was found. Yep. It was on the first day. It was on the day the children went missing. Yeah. Well, thank you. Cole LD Buren. Let's go with RN. And thank you for being here, RN. Nova, it's lawless spiritual wickedness. People's hearts need to return to the ancient paths. It's a heart issue why people red rumming others, including their own children. Yeah. Yeah, it's so sad. It's so sad. I think it got mixed up when Logan and Cheryl were on Hidden in the Fog channel because they were talking about MBM leaving and the blanket as if it happened at the same time. Oh yeah, maybe yeah, that could be yeah. Let's just let Nova fill in the time. We were gonna get more confused, and that's what happens, doesn't it? So many timelines. I know. Hi, just me. My question is why isn't anyone questioning why Justin was crying and why he is not making a statement since he was apparently on the property? Just curious. Well, and that's the thing. Was he on the property? Because there's one of your contradictions right there, right? Malaya happened to mention that he was there, in the stayed the night with Janie in the trailer or whatever. Right? And I mean, to me, she's just innocently saying that. I don't think she's going to stand there and go, okay, now I'm going to make up a lie and say Justin was in the trailer. So, and pretty much anything that she has said has stayed the same. But then all of a sudden and made a point of, but no, Justin wasn't here. He doesn't live in the property. He wasn't in the trailer. So that's what makes it confusing. So you have her just, saying that, like innocently, discussing who was there, and then others coming out and saying, no, he wasn't there. So that's what makes things confusing. Yeah, they were reported missing on May 2nd. Yeah, which was Friday. Yeah. Hi, Marlene. Um, no doubt Justin talked to police and signed a statement, probably took a poly too. I would think he would be one of the ones that would be asked to take a poly because her parents were, so I would think they were. Yeah, yeah. All right, one more comment and then I'm gonna go start. But like I said, you guys feel free to chat with each other while you're listening. The piece of blanket found in the tree was Friday, as Malay left shortly thereafter, and it was her side of the family that found it. Yeah, Malaya left on Saturday. Yeah. All right. So let's get started. Okay. And I'll just keep that picture up there of the kids while I'm talking. Don't need to see my mug. Okay. So Lilly&Jack Sullivan case. All information uh, has been gathered through media reports, press conferences, Government of Nova Scotia, and that would be their website, and radio dispatch via CBC, Globe and Mail, CTV News, City News, Global News, RCMP Media, Government of Nova Scotia, and Pictou County Emergency Dispatch Radio. Also, screenshots of phone and app communications. Um, Lily and Jack last seen, Lily and Jack last attended school Tuesday, April 29th. Wednesday the 30th was an in-service day, which is a day off for all students. Thursday, they were called out of school sick, and Friday, May 2nd, they were called out of school sick as well at 7:16 a.m. and 6:18 a.m. And the school app message shows those messages. Also, what I did, guys, in my notes, anything that I felt would be considered, you know, by RCMP evidence that they would have collected all of communications and things like that. I put in brackets beside it evidence. So that is one thing I listed as would possibly be evidence that RCMP would have collected. Um, May 1st, the family is seen on CCTV footage in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, which would be Mother Malaya Brooks Murray, her partner Daniel Martel, Lily, Jack, and baby M. Lily and Jack can be seen, um, and that would be marked as evidence. While out that day, the family stopped at the Dollarama on Westville Road, New Glasgow, and the Westville Medical Clinic, which is also a Lawton's drugstore, and that is on Main Street, Westville, Nova Scotia. As per Google Travel app, the return trip home to 1407 Garlic Road ended at 3:11 p.m. So that would be when the family returned home. And that the receipts for that is the Google Travel app. And that as well would be, I would think, marked as evidence. Hi, Osprey. Thanks for being here. May 2nd, Lily and Jack are reported missing from 1407 Garlic Road, Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. Their mother and her partner state they awoke around 9:40 a.m. That's 9:40 a.m. and realized they cannot hear the children. Now, of course, this is all alleged. We don't know. Um, that is for RCMP to figure this all out. But these are the facts that have been told to us, um, or what's been told to us as facts. They state they started looking everywhere for them. Martel states he began searching through the woods. The 911 call is placed at 10:01 a.m. by the mother, Malaya. And there's the screenshot that I have shown in my other videos of the 911 call. And I would think that would be marked as evidence. RCMP arrived within 15 minutes. Eventually, GSAR, which is Ground Search and Rescue, helicopters, drones, search canine, etc., joined the search. They search thick, dense forest of rough terrain with a multitude of large fallen trees from Hurricane Fiona. At 12:45 noon, RCMP issue a news release notifying the public and also state no signs of abduction. They ask anyone with information to come forward. At 4:55 p.m., they issue a second news release asking the public to stay away from the area. A vulnerable alert is issued for Pictou County. They also state, again, no signs of abduction. Dispatch radio states Lily and Jack were last heard and or seen around 8 a.m. They confirm it was stated the children would never cross the road. Maternal grandmother Cindy Murray arrives to the property. plus other family and friends to both sides of the families. And guys, this is in no particular order. Um, so as I'm given times up above when something took place, and then I say Cindy arrives, that doesn't mean she arrived after that time frame, but it just means on the second is the day she arrives. And if you saw the video that I had of the receipts with the phone call between her and Malaya, you can see the time frame as she's on her way and nearing arriving and stuff. Okay, so still on May 2nd, dispatch radio also discusses the finding of a piece of a pink blanket, and that obviously would be marked as evidence, and states the mother has said she believes it is her daughter Lily's. Dispatch radio also states a small holographic star is found. Now, that's the only thing I had a question on, was the holographic, star found on the 2nd, and then it's in the dispatch radio, and there's so much dispatch radio, I couldn't find it. So I did put it under the 2nd, but it may have happened after the 2nd. So if anybody knows different, you can let me know. That's the only thing I had a question on. Um, a neighbor hears a loud five-speed vehicle come and go from the Martel property about 6 times from 12 midnight to 5 a.m., also on May 2nd. Um, yeah, so that would be through the night. Um, and like I said, now that's one of the things we just found out. But now it's nice to have it in order and have it up, you know, near the beginning of all of this taking place rather than at the end when we just found this out last week. Um, in text between the children's mother and Belinda Gray, who is the paternal grandmother, over May 2nd and May 3rd, Malaya states she never thought her children would run off on her. In a couple other texts to Belinda, she states she and others believe they could have been abducted because they have not been found. There's no trace of them, and Lily's backpack has not been found. Now, I showed those texts. It's a Crime and Shame showed those texts, and this is also from the article from the Globe and Mail. Okay, so again, everything is coming from a source and mostly media. Just checking to see how you guys are doing. Who passed the Polly? Isn't that true? Polar Osprey. I'm reading one on CTV News website. I'll check things. Holy S. They both passed Polly. I'm in shock. Who are we talking about? Did a new news release come out that I'm not aware of? Hi, Faye. Oh, should I stop this and go over and look? It has to do with Lily and Jack? Okay. Let me check. You guys see that okay? Oh my god, my mouse. I gotta remove the picture of the kids. Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay. I wanna see the title. Okay, I'm coming off of this and going to a different site. Um, okay, so court documents provide new details on missing Nova Scotia children's case. There's 4-year-old Jack and 6-year-old Lily. Um, you guys can see that okay? I hope oh, yeah, you can see that. Okay. Uh, Faye, thanks for letting us know that. I think that was you that did that. Okay. Hi, Peggy. Global News has it too. Okay. Okay, Halifax. Newly released court documents are revealing previously unreported details of the investigation into the disappearance of two young children from their home in rural northeastern Nova Scotia more than 3 months ago. Included in several documents are the initial impressions by police of, okay, so it's the initial impressions by police, a polygraphs given to the parents um, of 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, and confirmation that investigators found a second piece of a blanket they say belonged to Lily in the trash. Okay, well, we knew that. The information is contained in court applications filed by investigators for permission to conduct searches for phone records, banking records, and video related to the case. Hmm. The documents include unproven statements made by police. The documents include unproven statements made by police. Those documents were released to the Canadian press and other news outlets. Many of them contain redactions. Well, of course. According to one document, sworn by Corporal Charlene Jordan Curl of RCMP's Northeast Nova Scotia Major Crime Unit. The children were first reported missing on 10:01 a.m. No, at they have on at 10:01 a.m. on May 2nd from their home in rural Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, by their mother, Malaya Brooks. Geez, I just read that from my notes, didn't I? Uh, Brooks Murray told police she believed the two children had wandered away from home, but the exact time she said she thought they went missing was redacted. Police were on the scene at 10:27 a.m. Wow, that's pretty quick. The document says the last time the children were seen outside their home was on May 1st, when they were captured by video surveillance at a local Dollarama store and Brooks Murray and Daniel Martell, and Daniel Martell, their stepfather. RCMP conducted at least 4 polygraphs during their investigation. The first 2 were on May 12th with the children's parents at the detachment at Bible Hill, Nova Scotia. Martell's polygraph indicated he was truthful, as did the test for Brooks Murray that found she was truthful when answering specific questions, although the list of questions is redacted in the document. An unidentified investigator's comment included at the end of the section of the results of both of these polygraphs says, "At this point in the investigation, Jack and Lily's disappearance is not believed to be criminal in nature." Hmm. Okay, so now I know why they're saying unproven at the beginning of this article. Mhm. I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense has occurred because Jack and Lily are still missing. Okay, yeah. So politically correct, yes. Because I had said earlier that unfortunately it's starting to look like the evidence they need, which is unfortunate, the missing person themselves, they are the evidence. And until you find them, you don't have the evidence. And that happens sometimes in cases. Um, Yeah, and one I can think of in particular is, oh my goodness, what's her name? Sunny and I just talked about her on It's a Crime and Shame there. Uh, she was the big piece of evidence because when they found her, they were able to uh, do tests and find that she did have um, what the animal darts that her husband had shot her with. Um, were found in her system. So once they had that evidence, which, she was the evidence, then they could conclude there was a criminal uh, uh, side to it, right? A criminal offense. Um, yeah. So because Jack and Lily are still missing, polygraph examinations were conducted with the intention of ruling out that possibility. Um, So let me read that again. I do not have reasonable grounds. So it's not saying they don't believe or whatever. It's saying they don't have reasonable grounds. Um, so the evidence to believe a criminal offense has occurred because Jack and Lily are still missing. They are the reasonable grounds, that piece of evidence. Polygraph examinations were conducted with the intention of ruling out that possibility. Martel told the Canadian press on May 28th that he had passed his polygraph test, but the RCMP declined at the time to confirm or deny his claim. Hmm. Results from polygraphs, which measure fluctuations within a person's sympathetic nervous system as they answer questions, are not admissible in Canadian courts, but the machines are considered an investigative tool. Exactly. So it's no different than sitting down for an interrogation. It's a type of interrogation is what it is, and it's not just about the equipment side of it. It's about the person that's sitting across from you as well, and you know they're basically doing an interrogation on you. um, Meanwhile, on June 10th, the children's step grandmother, Janie McKenzie, underwent a polygraph. June 10th, hmm, a polygraph examination. But another document notes that her physiology was not suitable. It's not suitable for analysis, and an opinion on the polygraph examination was not rendered. The children's biological father, Cody Sullivan, underwent a polygraph on June 12th, 2025, and passed the examination, with his answers found to be truthful. Hmm. Okay. I just want to go back and see what they said about are they using the same. RCMP conducted at least 4 polygraphs. Um, I do not have reasonable grounds to believe. Martel told them, I want to see what they say again about his and Malaya's polygraphs, how they worded it, including several documents or the information is contained in a court filed by investigators for permission to connect it. According to one document sworn by uh, where does it say about their polys? The document says the last time the children were seen, RCMP conducted at least 4 polygraphs. Okay, the children's parents. Martel's polygraph indicated he was truthful, as did the test for Malaya Brooks Murray that found she was truthful when answering specific questions. Okay. And then for Cody, they say, meanwhile, on June 10th, the children's results from polygraphs was fluctuate. Where's Cody's? Cody underwent a polygraph and passed, with his answers found to be truthful. Well, how come they're not saying they passed? They're saying Cody passed, but they're not saying Malaya and Daniels that they passed. But they're saying that the questions were answered. Specific questions were answered to be truthful. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. In July, the Mounties said they were running forensic tests on a pink blanket found during the search on the heavily wooded areas near the children's home. Police said at the time that the family had confirmed the blanket belonged to Lily, but investigators released few details. The newly released, and we know that Daniel stated it wasn't hers, but then eventually said it was hers. The newly released documents shed more light on that part of the investigation, saying 3 family members found the blanket in a tree on Lansdowne Station Road on May 2nd. Oh my gosh, there you go. We were just talking about that. Maybe I don't have to read all my stuff. It's probably all in here. Exactly 1 kilometer from the family's home. A photo was shown to the mother and stepfather, who confirmed it was Lily's. Well, that's not exactly true, because Malaya, the mother, stated it was hers. Daniel stated it wasn't hers, but then later said it was hers. And he knew it was hers when he said it wasn't, because it was him who put it in the garbage. Later, police dispatched a sniffer dog. So that's the police dog. That's not a ground search and rescue dog. That's a police dog, which we already know. All of RCMP dogs, according to the video I had shown, which is an RCMP officer who trains the dogs speaking, or handles the dogs, saying all RCMP dogs are trained on human remains detection. They're not all considered cadaver dogs, so a cadaver dog is different. Okay, so later police dispatched a sniffer dog to the area where the blanket was found, but the animal was unable to pick up a scent of Lily and Jack. Well, there you go. So they didn't put it there. The documents say on May 4th, another piece of the blanket was seized by police after it was found inside a trash bag at the end of the driveway of the children's home, according to police. Police say they confirmed both pieces were part of the same blanket. Among the numerous court orders sought by police, and that piece of the blanket did come out of the garbage. So who took it out of the garbage? Who knows? Um, and that's the thing that I'm saying. There's so many crazy stuff involved in this case, and that's one right there. Like that blanket was in the garbage, and a piece of it is taken out of the garbage, and it's found in a tree. Like, like that is bizarre. Um, okay, so among numerous court cases sought by police was one of the Cobequid, or sorry, among the numerous court orders sought by police was one for the Cobequid Pass. Interesting, because we've been talking about that. And I talked about the tolled section because the tolled section has video footage, and it's not the highway cams. There's actual security cams there. It's a pass where um, I think you still have to pay a toll, but and the trucks go through and stuff like that, and like the big trucks, and they have to be weighed and stuff. But yeah, so this is the interesting. Uh, yeah, so one of the court orders was for the Cobequid Pass, a tolled section of the highway in Nova Scotia. Specifically, the RCMP were looking for video records, including closed circuit footage of all cameras of drivers leaving Nova Scotia between May 1st, 2025 to May 3rd, uh, 2025. That is very interesting. One of the documents says that on May 3rd, police received a report that Jack and Lily might be with their biological father. Huh? I don't believe that. And then they did conduct a polygraph on him later. So, yeah. Police received a pair of messages, a pair, about this early on May 3rd, but the report notes the caller, who was unnamed, did not have any proof, and she just wanted to make sure every possibility is looked into. Okay. Um, According to the request for Cobequid Pass Toll Plaza vids, Malaya later reported to police that she thought Cody Sullivan later, Malaya later, huh, reported to police that she thought Cody Sullivan, Lily and Jack's biological father, might have picked up the kids and taken them to New Brunswick. Hmm. So we do know that the police did go to Belinda's home. Um, it was in between the 2nd and the 3rd overnight. I'm pretty sure that was the date. And that they did speak with her and Cody, and I imagine they were in the home looking around. Um, Police later met with Sullivan on May 22nd. The court document said he told police he had been in a relationship with the mother but had not seen her nor the children in 3 years. He said he paid child support, contrary to what Brooks Murray had told the police. Well, he did pay child support, but he had recently lost his job. And um, and I guess you call it in between jobs. And so, of course, the support wouldn't be paid then. Um, he said he did not know what happened to Jack and Lily, police noted. And I believe he was out of work It wasn't for a long time. I think it was for a few months just prior to the kids going missing. Um, yeah, so I wouldn't call that not paying child support. I mean, if somebody's out of work and then they're looking for work, you gotta let them get work. He was home on May 2nd, 2025, and never goes anywhere. He was, okay, I missed a line there, sorry. He said he did not know what happened to Lily and Jack. Police noted. He was at home on May 2nd, 2025, and he never goes anywhere. He has not been anywhere other than his house recently and has had no contact with Malaya since the children went missing. The documents say police had received hundreds of tips in the case, including one from a witness who said she was traveling with her sons on the morning of the 2nd and saw two children walking alongside the road. And I remember this. I just talked about this in my last video, guys, that when this all first started, there was information and then all of a sudden that was gone. I couldn't find it anymore. It was like the article was gone. And it had stated that somebody saw, it said the two kids walking alongside the road because I remember being upset and saying, who in the heck would pass two little kids like that and not stop and say anything or do anything or try to help them get back home? Um, yeah, so so that was true. I honest to God was thought I was losing my marbles. I thought I dreamt it. Okay. Including a witness who said she saw two kids traveling when she was traveling with her son, May 2nd, and saw two children walking alongside the road. Natasha Haywood informed the RCMP on May 31st. What? Why would you wait until May 31st to report that? Okay, well, somebody else reported that because I heard that at the early stages of this. It wasn't just her that said that. In fact, I thought it said it was a man. Said that it was a man who reported it. Anyways, we'll keep reading. Natasha Haywood informed the RCMP on May 31st. She described seeing a young girl holding a young boy's hand. The boy had dirty blonde hair and was wearing shorts. Or a pull up. While the girl had darkish hair and pigtails and was wearing a tank top with blue strings. Well, that doesn't sound like them. According to the police, she said the children were walking toward a Caucasian female of about 50 to 60 years old with a loose curl haircut, who was waiting next to the passenger side of an older model tan or gold sedan with a back door open. The documents say that in early June, police met with the witness near the corner. That's supposed to be corner, but they spelled it coroner of Garlock Road and Lansdowne Station Road, where she mentioned having seen the children walking north towards Westville, Nova Scotia, and that the vehicle appeared to be waiting for them. Okay, so is that just some lady with her children? Though, like, the documents say that in early June. Okay, when she later met with police, Haywood said she thought the girl was around 9 or 10 years old and the boy was about 5 years old. The documents say investigators are working to find out if the children were indeed Jack and Lily. The documents noted. Hmm. But if that's the case, that's a possible abduction. And there was never an Amber Alert put out. And they always said if they found anything out like that, like this, that they would put an Amber Alert out and notify the public, and they never did. None of the tips so far have led to Jack and Lily's location or has any information that has been corroborated by the investigation, a document notes. Okay, well, let's go over and see what you guys think of this. Um, I don't know. What do you guys think of this? This is now it's just more baffling. Anybody that's read articles from CBC or Global, is there any other thing in there that this article missed? If there is, you can let me know. I'll go over there and read that too. Hi, Carla. Yes, reading the article now. No evidence of crime. I don't know if it said no evidence of a crime. Uh, I'll go back and read that part again, okay? Woo. And hi to everybody coming in. I'm probably not going to be able to go back and Mike, JDR, Root Strength, anybody else new that came in that I missed. Hi, welcome to the chat. Mama G, uh, Janie Doe. Janie, I noticed that too. The only one they said they actually used the words past was Cody. Yeah. Yeah. Hard to say with Janie. She's probably on, in my opinion, it could be due to medications. She's so high strung and full of anxiety. Now whether that means because it's guilt of anything, um, you know, I feel, in my opinion, and just from working in as a nurse and having some experience, that most likely Janie was this what we're seeing is nothing new of Janie being high strung and the anxiety and uh, finding out that she's on medications and whatnot. Now that doesn't mean that's why she's behaving like that now, because maybe it's worse now because there's something, causing it, something very bad that took place that's causing it to be worse. But yeah, when you have stuff like that going on and you're trying to do a poly, oh, it's just not going to work, right? Medication alone can interfere with it. Um, so hard to say. It's hard to say what's going on there, but the police will figure it out. Yeah, I hope they will figure that out. Okay, so let's go back to that part where they said it says something about not being uh, the criminal, because I want to go over I want to go over that carefully and make sure that we understand that. I'm gonna have to change the title of my video, which is fine. Sorry, my arm was hitting the mic there. If you heard any silly noises. Okay, so let's. Okay, the information for file investigation, permission to conduct searches of the phone records. A lot of what is in my notes is actually in this too, to be honest with you. Malaya Brooks Murray told police she believed the two children. I want to read. The document says the last time the children. Yeah. Okay, RCMP conducted at least 4 polygraphs during their investigation. The first 2 were on May 12th with the children's parents. Well, it was their mother and her partner that she was with at the time. They were completed at Bible Hill detachment. Martel's polygraph indicated he was truthful. It doesn't say that he passed, though, like it says for Cody's, as did the test for Brooks Murray that found she was truthful when answering specific questions. Hmm. Although the list of questions is redacted in the document. Okay. But for Cody's, it says he was truthful and that he passed. An unidentified investigator's comment included at the end of the section. Unidentified, you'd never get away with that in healthcare. No way. You make a comment, you have to initial it. An unidentified investigator's comment included at the end of the section on the results of both of these polygraphs says, at this point. So at this point, that doesn't mean it can't change. In the investigation of Jack and Lily's disappearance, it is not believed to be criminal in nature. I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense has occurred. So you see he's saying he does not have reasonable grounds because Jack and Lily are both still missing. Polygraph examinations were conducted with the intention of ruling out that possibility. So how do you guys take that statement? And I left it there on the screen. Did it mention Janie's Polly? Thought there was 4. Yeah, it did mention Janie's and that. I'll read it again for you. Um, if they asked M and D their name and address, they would get that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's very it's broad, isn't it? This what's being said. Patty lives in Wentworth. They could avoid the cobble, but yeah, by traveling through Wentworth. Well, depends on where you can't get to New Brunswick through driving through Wentworth. You'd still have to go through the Cobequid Pass. Wentworth is way before the Cobequid Pass. Uh, as far as I know, and like if you're going to New Brunswick, you have to go through Cobequid Pass. They all pass some. That's what I always thought. I had to. I've lived in New Brunswick and drove back and forth, and I know where Wentworth is because my husband and I drive it all the time going to the market. They all pass some. If the same M heard her, if Malaya heard name, she would likely get that correct. Yeah. If they asked her age, she would get yeah, exactly, right? It's so broad what is being said there. Um, and it's saying at this time. So, and they're still working on it, right? Um, so I mean, and we don't know their process. They may have to write certain reports at so many so often. Um, to state, what's going on right now in the investigation. So at this point in the investigation, um, here's what's taking place. And stating that because the children haven't been found, and like I said before, it's always been my belief that they are going to be the evidence that is needed. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens. I hope that doesn't happen. Um, so if the kids are found and they're found out in the woods and nothing nefarious took place, then most likely, yeah, they wandered off. If the kids are found and they're not found in the woods and somewhere else, well, right off the bat, it's going to be known something else took place here. or if they're found in the woods and, you know, if it, when they're checked out, uh, through autopsies and stuff, it might be known by, drug tests, or sorry, rug tests, um, or, bruising, or, if that still can be noted. But other things, right? Other things like some broken bone, who knows, right? That something nefarious took place. Like I had talked earlier, how that might be what's going to conclude this case for them. And without that, you can't conclude anything. So basically, what the officer's trying to say was that because they can't find Lily and Jack, I mean, in my opinion, they can't find Lily and Jack. So they can't conclude any of that. So their purpose for doing the polygraphs was another way of, it's part of interrogation tool to hopefully give them something, right? To help them understand what took place. Isn't that piece of Nova Scotia called the Land of Holes? Lansdowne? Oh, maybe. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Lansdowne. Yeah. Those children and women. No, I don't think that was Lily and Jack either. But, I mean, you have to follow up on everything, and I can understand that woman calling it in because it's in the area and on the day. So, yeah, you should probably call it in. This is so confusing to me, uh, said Malaya passed some. It didn't say passed at all for her or, uh, Daniel. It said it shows they're being truthful, and for her, it said, um, questions. Here, you can get to New Brunswick through Wentworth, down to Pugwash, through to Amherst, or through Wentworth to avoid the toll. Oh, yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying now. The Sunrise Trail. Yeah, through that back way. What a beautiful drive that is. Through Wentworth, Oxford to Amherst. So many. Yeah, I got you now. Yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. Now that you reminded me, yes, yes. And it's a beautiful drive. I've done that too. Yeah. Back in the day. Very broad and kind of obscure, so I don't think anything has changed. I don't either. I still have the same theory. Yeah, I'm not sure that anything has changed either. Uh, yeah. If your car is registered in Nova Scotia, you don't pay, but other provinces do pay. Okay, yes, I remember that now that you say that. My husband told me that. CBC article makes it clear Cody was being thrown under the bus. Oh, really? Because we can go to that one and read that one too. You can avoid it by going Conquer Pass. Conquet Pass is after the exit of Wentworth. Okay. Yeah, I get that now. Yeah. Remember the first question asked Daniel, he says, was, yeah, did you want to live Lily and Jack? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yes, specific questions. Yes. Said she was truthful when asked specific questions. Yeah, but it didn't say those two didn't pass. It said, and see, I don't know their language. I don't like they would understand what that means and why it's written that way. I understand. I can kind of sometimes in my head kind of think, oh, I bet you this is why they're doing that because of working in healthcare and having to take specific notes and having to say things certain ways. But I haven't worked as an officer, so I don't know 100%, right? But sometimes you can just kind of read through the lines of what somebody's doing. Um, so, why they would specifically say he passed, but not say that for the other two is, you know, don't know. Uh, why if they have to word something that way for a specific reason, right? Um, to them, saying passed, does that mean ruled out? But he didn't say that on the other two because they haven't 100% ruled them out. Is that what that language means? Police language? I don't know. You know, it's a possibility. Might have to get a police officer on here. I know one I could ask, that might come on here and answer some questions for us. Mike, CBC article says more than 4 polys. Even Cindy and Wade took them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did take them. If they asked M&D their names, yeah. Okay, so let's go over to the CBC one. Um, they were truthful for the most part, but didn't pass. That's kind of what it sounds like. So, are you speaking out of experience? Because I'm kind of taking it that way too. That because with Cody, to me, that the lingo kind of seems like okay, they're using the word pass. That's their lingo of perhaps meaning that's their language of like if another officer saw that, they'd know, ruled out, pass, but it don't see it on the other two. So, does that possibly mean not totally ruled out? Um, right on. Let's read CBC. Hi, Bobby. Thanks for being here. I am gonna ask. I know a police officer to come on and answer some questions. Very seasoned police officer. Um, yeah, and he has his own channel, and I know him from a way back. Okay, so give me a second here to find CBC. Hmm. Okay, you guys can see that, okay? RCMP scrutiny of missing Nova Scotia children's mother, stepfather suggests no criminal involvement. I don't like how they worded that heading. I don't know about that. Yeah, RCMP scrutiny over of missing Nova Scotia children's mother, stepfather suggests no criminal involvement. Hmm. Newly released court documents are shedding fresh light on the search for 2 missing Nova Scotia children and how police subsequently combed through bank records, phone data, and GPS information to track the movements of their mother and her partner leading up to the disappearance in May. The redacted records, which were released at the request of CBC News, the Globe and Mail, and the Canadian Press, include 12 record access orders filed by RCMP and reveal that as of July 16th, investigators did not believe the case was criminal in nature. Okay. Canadian include 12 record access orders filed by RCMP and reveal that as of July 16th, investigators did not believe the case was criminal in nature. Lilly Sullivan 6 and Jack Sullivan 4 were reported missing on the morning of May 2nd when police received a 911 call at 10:01 a.m. from their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, saying they had wandered away from their home in Lansdowne Station, about 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax. Our CMP arrived 26 minutes later at 10:27. The mysterious disappearance sparked an extensive grid search that spanned 8.5 square kilometers. Well, that number's increased because the last I read it said 5.5. Um, 8.5 square kilometers of mostly dense woods around the home and included wells, mine shafts, and waterways. The case has gripped people across Canada and around the world, prompting 740 tips to police and more than 90 9,300 videos, which RCMP said are being evaluated and prioritized by major crime investigators. In a statement to CBC News this week, RCMP spokesperson Alison Gerard said the disappearance remains a very active investigation. The Nova Scotia RCMP is using every available resource to help locate Lily and Jack and determine the circumstances of their disappearance, she said. When asked whether the investigation has turned criminal in recent weeks, Gerard said only that a tremendous amount of careful, deliberate investigative work is ongoing. The Major Crime Unit continues to investigate Jack and Lily's disappearance under the Missing Persons Act, and the team remains committed to exploring all possible scenarios, she said. Okay, I want to read that again. The Major Crime Unit continues to investigate Jack and Lily's disappearance under the Missing Persons Act, and the team remains committed to exploring all possible scenarios, she said. Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to read the Missing Persons Act. In the early weeks of the investigation, RCMP sought access to all electronic devices and data used by Brooks Murray and her then boyfriend Daniel Martel during the period of May 1st at 20:25 p.m. and May 2nd at 10:27 a.m. when police arrived. Location data from various sources, including global positioning systems, cell phone towers, cell phone tower locations, and file metadata can tell investigators the historical location of the device, said RCMP member Corporal Charlene Curl in her written request to the court. Logs such as call logs, chat logs, email logs will show investigators how Malaya and Daniel were in contact, who Malaya and Daniel were in contact with prior to Jack and Lily going missing, and verify the information they have provided to police. Officers also assessed their bank records using their transaction histories to cross-reference timelines previously provided to the police by Martel and Brooks Murray. And that was access, sorry. They have accessed their bank records using their transactions histories and cross-reference timelines previously provided to the police by Martel and Brooks Murray. I'm completely open and transparent with everything on the case. They know my life inside and out. Oh, we know this is going to be Daniel talking. And I was happy to share it with them, Martel said this week in reaction to the release of the court records. It's important for me because Jack and Lily were my stepkids, and there's two innocent children that are missing. Yep, I agree. RCMP also accessed Brooks Murray's text Plus account, a phone app she used for Wi-Fi calling. By the time police sought the records in early July, the court record said Brooks Murray had deleted the app because she doesn't need it anymore. Regardless, RCMP were able to access her account. Hmm, that's interesting. By the time police sought the records in early July, well, I guess she wouldn't need it anymore because she's not living where she would need that app anymore. Because that has to do with that what's it called, something link or whatever. By the time, but why did it take them till July though? By the time police sought the records in early July, ah, the court records said that Murray had deleted the app because she didn't need it anymore. Regardless, RCMP were able to access her account. Well, they're lucky. Well, I guess if they know they can access all that stuff anyways, it doesn't matter. They can delete all that stuff all they want, and they don't have they apply for access in July, they're still going to get the information. On May 12th, Martel and Brooks Murray did separate polygraph tests with different officers. According to the court documents filed by RCMP, both passed. Okay, so now they're saying that that they passed. But in the other one, and it was in quotations in the other one, it didn't say the words passed. Martel has told CBC he asked RCMP to do a polygraph test. He said all the questions were focused on whether he unalived Lily and Jack. Malaya willingly agreed to undergo a polygraph examination in relation to this investigation in an effort to eliminate her as a suspect in causing her children's disappearance and possible red rum. Curl wrote in May 16th court application. An investigator's comment is included in the document stating, I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense has occurred. Okay, so again, this is in quotations. I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense has occurred. So he's not saying it didn't occur. He doesn't have the reasonable grounds at this point in the investigation. Because Jack and Lily are still missing, polygraphs were conducted with the intention of ruling out that possibility. Hmm. The documents also show Janie McKenzie, Martel's mother, did a polygraph test on June 10th. Her physiology was not suitable for analysis, with no opinion was rendered. Hmm. And I did a video that she is the third person on that property. Everybody had been going on, Malaya Daniel, Malaya Daniel, Malaya Daniel, and I said nobody's talking about Janie. She was on that property. She was up puttering around on that property outside. She's stated she heard the children last. I questioned whether she was the one that actually opened the door quietly and let them out and closed the door because she was up puttering around on that property. And I found it very hard to believe that the kids opened and then closed that door and closed it all the way. And it was stated they always leave the door open. So I took a good look at Janie too, and I did a video on it if you guys want to watch that, because we have to remember it wasn't just Daniel and Malaya on that property. And then the big question mark of the brother, because he was there, he wasn't there, right? We have the stories are contradicting. On June 12th, Cody Sullivan, the children's biological father, also did a polygraph and was determined to be truthful. Now they're saying truthful there, but not past. Cindy Brooks Murray, the children's maternal grandmother, and her boyfriend, Wade Paris, both passed polygraph tests on July 2nd. Some details of the 6 polygraph tests, including questions asked and officers' notes, are redacted in the documents. Mother's accounts. Since the Sullivan children disappeared 3.5 months ago, their mother has avoided making public statements. The newly released documents provide summaries of 5 statements Brooks Murray provided to the RCMP. In her first police interview, she described Martel as an involved parent who would help her, especially when she was overwhelmed. She said he wasn't aggressive with the children, but he had a voice when they wouldn't listen. What about him throwing boots at the kids? At their heads? Um, Brooks Murray told RCMP there was never any physical discipline. Ah. In other sections where police summarized her account of their relationship, the document is heavily redacted. In other sections where police summarized her account of their relationship. The pair haven't spoken since May 3rd. Well, hmm. Brooks Murray did, however, call RCMP at 12:45 a.m. on May 3rd to report that the children's biological father might have picked them up and taken them to New Brunswick. Well, I mean, you have to report everything, right? Like you're thinking of every scenario because you're trying to find your kids. So, I mean, I would do the same thing. If my kids went missing when my husband and I were separated and they were little, I would have to say the same thing because I'd want them to check everything. RCMP showed up at Sullivan's house at 2:50 a.m. Cody said he had not seen Jack and Lily in 3 years and confirmed they were not with him, Curl said in her court application. On May 7th, RCMP spoke with Sullivan again because a tip said he was seen by a hotel employee in New Brunswick. Police confirmed once again he was at home in Nova Scotia. Later that month, our CMP requested all camera footage at Cobequid Pass, the location of a toll plaza on the Trans-Canada Highway in northern Nova Scotia, about 70 kilometers from the New Brunswick border, between May 1st and May 3rd. The children were on video surveillance at the Dollarama in New Glasgow, a town about 20 kilometers northeast of Lansdowne Station, at 2:25 p.m. on the Thursday before their disappearance. This time frame will encompass the time frame between when they were last seen and when Cody Sullivan was confirmed to be in Nova Scotia. Footage from his timeline will assist. Okay, wait now. This time frame will encompass the time frame between when they were last seen and when Cody Sullivan was confirmed to be in Nova Scotia. The footage from this timeline will assist investigators with independently verifying Cody Sullivan's statement to police and confirm Jack and Lily did not leave Nova Scotia, writes Curl in her application. It's not clear from the documents what the camera footage did or did not confirm. Yeah, I was going to say, because that was a while ago they asked for that. Martel said he had no idea Brooks Murray called our CMP that first night to report Sullivan might have taken the children. I was so exhausted on the night of the second I went to bed. I still remember that I sat on the bed. I gave Malaya a hug and everything. And then I literally passed out cold because I was so tired from searching all day, and I slept till 9 o'clock, 9:09. He said. You think she would have told me that the next day, but nothing. Brooks Murray told police he was awake most of the first night the children. Brooks Murray told police she was awake most of the first night the children were gone. She slept between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Days before disappearance, the documents described in detail how the family spent the days leading up to the disappearance running errands. On Wednesday, April 30th, all five, including Jack and Lily's baby sister, went to Brooks Murray's grandmother's house to do laundry at 2 p.m. More than an hour later, Brooks Murray took the baby with her to get a license plate for her car while Martel stayed at the grandmother's house with Jack and Lily. According to the documents, they went to the Ultramar in Millbrook to get gas, and she stopped to get a vape for Daniel at High Grade. The entire family later went for groceries and eventually arrived back home at 10:19 p.m. On May 1st, Jack and Lily didn't go to school. The entire family went to New Glasgow in the afternoon and were home for the evening. Brooks Murray initially said she put Jack and Lily to bed at 9 p.m., then changed that time to 10 p.m. in a later statement to police. Okay, and that's on May 1st. Uh, According to Brooks Murray, Martel stayed up and she didn't know what time he came to bed. She said she heard the kids giggling and laughing and talking to each other in their shared bedroom in the early hours of Friday, May 2nd. What? Oh, in the early hours. Yeah, okay. She was fading in and out of sleep, but when she heard silence, she told Martel, and they started checking inside and outside their home before Brooks Murray called 911. Blanket and boot print. In the chaotic hours that followed, an extensive search ensued with more than 100 trained volunteers combing the woods, accompanied by air support from helicopters and drones. Loved ones from all sides of Jack and Lily's family frantically looked for signs of the children. Around 4 p.m., relatives of Brooks Murray came out of the woods saying they had found a pink blanket down the road from the children's home. The blanket was seized by RCMP and photographs were given. According to the documents, a police dog walked for about 1 kilometer in the area and did not pick up a scent. Another piece of blanket was seized from the garbage bag in a bin at the end of the family's driveway. Martel tells CBC it was the same blanket but had been ripped apart. Brooks Murray told police it was Lily's LOL doll blanket that she had, sometimes dragged it around with her, but had decided she no longer wanted it. Martel had been using it to stop a draft around the door, according to her statement. Malaya took the blanket from the door because the weather was getting nicer about a week before, and she threw it in the garbage. Oh, she threw it in the garbage now. It was always he threw it in the garbage. The document said there was already a piece missing from it when she did that because Daniel ripped it off when he put it up. RCMP have previously said a pink blanket that was seized on Lansdowne Road early in the search is being forensically examined. An impression casting of a boot print found in the nearby woods was also taken to the lab for testing. An impression casting of a boot print found in the nearby woods. Yeah. And everything that I found, it did say boot print. I know some people are calling it a footprint, but in all the articles I read, it did say boot print. There was one article that said footprint, but then later down in the same article, it said boot print. So I think it was just a misprint. Um, an investigator's comment states in a July 16th document that because Lily's boot print was confirmed to be size 11, it is consistent with the boot print located on the pipeline trail in the search area. Oh, okay. Okay. An investigator's comment states in a July 16th document that because Lily's boot print was confirmed to be size 11, it is consistent with the boot print located on the pipeline trail in the search area. And the RCMP dogs were sent in when they found that boot print too. I wish it would say what they found there. Like the blanket, they said that they didn't pick up a scent when they took them to where the blanket was found, but it doesn't say what was found when or even say that the dogs were taken there, but they were because I have that in my information that I when I went through all the media stuff that in the canine dog was sent in. That was Amy Hansen that said that the dogs were the canine were sent in, RCMP canine were sent in where the boot print was found at the pipeline. But who knows if it did pick up on a scent. Multiple loved ones, including Martel, his mother, and the children's paternal grandmother, Belinda Gray, have all told CBC they do not believe the children are in the woods. Yeah, yeah, and nor do any of us. Whoops. Well, that's interesting, guys. Both of those articles combined have quite a bit of information. I don't know. Let's come over here and see what you guys are thinking. If the boot print is Lily's, why was it there? Exactly. Exactly. Why is it there? I gotta tell you. uh, like I don't want to point fingers. I hate doing that, but I'm telling you, I talked about Janie before. It wasn't just Malaya and Daniel on that property, and like why was that door closed when they typically leave it open? Um, we know all three people knew that that blanket was in the garbage. Janie made a specific point of telling Daniel, "Don't be piling too much into that garbage." When he, well, I guess now they're saying Malaya put it in there, but apparently, uh, it was said that Daniel put it. But Daniel tries to take credit for everything anyway. So, um, whoever put it in there, Janie wasn't too happy it was being put in there. She made a comment about it. Yeah, the boot print is the same size as Lily's. Yeah. This info is from statements given to police early on. Yeah. Yeah. Startling. Thank you. Yes. Janie is interesting. The previous evening, she returned to her RV for the night. Well, the children were still outside, in my opinion. Just look at the Globe and Mail. Did with my friend's case when he went missing in Guatemala. I'm going backwards. I shouldn't be, but uh, hi Lola. Thanks for joining us. I know you guys have so many awesome comments and I don't want to miss any, but there's so many that I don't want to get too far behind. Uh Hi Drippy, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. Anybody else that has joined us and I missed, thank you for being here. Yes. Yes, there are things being removed. Yep, there is. It's serving suggestion that I'm not buying. Yeah. You can take the old highway from the desert to Oxford. Do we have a desert here? Um, Mama G. Um, I don't like any of these articles. Agree with Lindsay about feeling gaslit. All this reporting does is further muddy the waters and stir pot for rumors. Yeah, I know. Just creates a lot more confusion for sure. Why aren't D and M searching for the children? Well, that is a good question. After reading what I just read, oh my God, I would so be out there. I don't know. I'm so confused now, guys. I have to tell you, I am so confused. So confused. Daniel looks like he has a small skull. I think that means his brain is small. Maybe. Oh. Uh, um, JDR. This concerns me more. Me too. I hope this not another case that will be lost to history. Oh my God, I hope not. I hope not. It just can't be. It can't be. It can't. Like, two kids just cannot go missing and there is no end result to that. And that there's nothing confirming what direction it's going in. That, okay, yes, we do think it's an abduction, or okay, yes, we do think something nefarious took place on that property. Um, or no, we believe that they did go out into the woods and we just never have been able to locate them. And if that is the case, then get out there and find them. Get every canine that you own through the RCMP and get them out there and locate those children if they're in the woods, due to wandering off or otherwise, and find them because they deserve to be home. Even if it's not nefarious, if they wandered off and they're out in those woods, they deserve to be found and taken home and given a proper burial. So get all your damn dogs out there. If you have to donate time or whatever you have to do to, properly proper ethics and proper moral wise, find the kids, get them home, and let them have a proper burial. If that's not the case, then you better eventually let people know what's going on here. That it was an abduction or that something nefarious took place on that property because this is just getting ridiculous. Honestly, it is. It's just getting ridiculous. They're not cleared, so more polys needed. Exactly. Justice for Lily and Jack. Yeah. Like, I'm wondering that too. Are they cleared or not, right? Polygraphs to me mean nothing.
I always said to my husband, just from being into true crime, if I was ever asked to take a poly, I would say no because they're nothing. It's part of an interview process, an interrogation. So I would tell the police, well, no, just interrogate me and interview me. Like I'm not doing your polygraph. That at the end of the day means nothing. There, if something is not deemed truthful by the court to the point where they will not let it in their courtroom, don't waste your time doing it to me, right? Just that's my way of looking at polygraphs. Um, so they've never meant anything to me ever. So to say pass, not pass, because for many reasons. One, the police can say that as a tool of investigation. It's their right to do so, and that's fine. Um, and two, because people can do well, it's an interview technique or an interrogation type technique. They can do well in that, and it means nothing. There's people who have done well. They can also tell you you passed they can tell you either way, you passed or you didn't pass, right? Whatever way they're going in their investigation. So that they any information I ever hear on a polygraph, yeah, they passed or they're being true or whatever. I don't pay attention to that as part of evidence. I never have, never. Uh, July. Why did our CMP wait till July? Yeah, I know. I was saying the same thing, but I guess even if everything is deleted, like you think of Stephen Stearns, right? And he redid his phone and everything, and they still get everything. So it doesn't matter when they do it; they're going to get it. Just as long as they're keeping an eye on that person until then, because if they did have something to do with it, you don't want them to take off somewhere. Our CMP really messed this up. I'm starting to feel a little frustrated again with them, I have to say. I was in the beginning there because they ruled out abduction like on the first day, like very quick. And that kind of, I was frustrated with that. That article just leaves more questions unanswered. Yep, I agree. Yes, Faye. Yep, yep, I agree too. Ooh, where's this article from? Sorry, Drippy, that was the CBC article. So the first article I read in this video was CTV News. The second one is CBC. And they're both good. Uh, well, you're from Nova Scotia, you know. You've heard of CBC. Today, Drippy. Yeah, people have already answered you. Yeah, I didn't like either one of them. Not telling me what I want to hear. Yeah, I know what you're saying. This one is CTV. See at the top of the screen. Yeah, I did CTV and CBC. Yeah. Uh, yeah, yeah, exactly. And throwing like, and she said he throws his work boots. He works in a sawmill. Do you know what those work boots would look like? With the what do you call those? My husband has to wear them with the safety boots, and in the front, it's like a steel toe. Yeah, um, that right there. Oh my gosh. Keep in mind, this was early in the beginning. It said that that was stated. Uh, if they've spoken to her again, hopefully she's come out with more information. And people's ideas of what abuse actually is can be distorted when you've been around it. Um, and it might take a person a while to go, "Oh my gosh, that was abuse and this was abuse." And you know, yeah, CBC is even more clear. Yeah. I wish I had a passport. I would go to Daniels and write until justice was served. Yeah. Hi Lola. Uh this is Sebastian Rogers' case. Very similar, isn't it? Pitch me a tent right beside Janie's roach infested camp. Okay. Now, we don't know it's roach infested. Probably mouse infested because we did hear about the mice. Um, if you were broke though, are you going to go get a cell phone plan when you could use that app? Yeah, but that app is for oh my god. Start when you have Starlink. If um wherever she's living now. Well, wait now. If you were a broker, you're gonna go get a phone plan. Well, it didn't say she got a phone plan, so I'm not like some people just use Messenger and the phone on there and whatever. Um, but I would say she had that app because of the Starlink, and then whatever she's using now, um, because you no matter what, you still have to pay for data to use Starlink. So you have to pay for so much data because I looked it all up. I researched that one too. Um, yeah, and then you would, I guess, have to have that app, and then you have your Starlink. So she'd still have to pay for data, but she wouldn't need that app to go with Starlink or whatever, however that works. Uh, 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 take some toys for that poor dog. Yeah, I know. The poor dog in that small trailer. I thought that too. Uh, JDR, I'll just take the whole damn dog. Yes. The dog whispered. So I gather police had to get a warrant. Oh yeah, I actually had that in my notes about the warrants that they had collected. Um, yeah. High Pond, and yes, High Pond. Notice very little of the article is in quotes. Yes, I did notice that. Yep, yep. The only part that's in quotes is about I think the whole thing about at this time at this point that he cannot state it is criminal or something like that. That when the police officer was talking about the criminal aspect of it, that was in quotes. Yeah. Regarding Janie's physiology, internet says heart condition, asthma, inner Hinder? Under the influence, yeah, are examples, and even, like, under the influence, it just doesn't mean alcohol and nefarious drugs, it could be medications, certain medications that you're on, like, if I had to go for a poly right now, I probably wouldn't be a proper candidate because I'm on, oh my god, what the heck's it called? Of course, my brain. Ugh. It's a for neurological issues, um, and that medication itself would affect me having that test, and plus I'm on so many medications. And then anybody that would be on, like, I'm not on pain medications, but there are people who, uh, do take some pretty heavy duty pain medications, like, that could interfere with it. So God knows with her. Um, but my red flags are going up more with Janie, I gotta be honest with you. I hate to say that. Mike Wright, just look at the Globe and Mail did with my friend's case when he went missing in Guatemala. Okay, and I went over all those. Hi, Randy. Thanks for being here. I believe all evidence planet. I still believe they never made it home from Westville. Dogs trained in cadaver can smell body fluid within a 5-mile radius. Nothing detected at the trailer. Well, do we know nothing was detected at the trailer 100%? Um, Timing of Cindy and Wade's poly is after Darewood's story being spewed. Yeah, yeah. Anything in the global news article? Well, we can pull that one up too if you want. Uh, what date did Darewood release his story? Oh my gosh. I don't know because I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to that one. Um, unless somebody in the chat answered your question, I don't know because it was all BS to me. It was just foolishness. I didn't pay attention to a lot of it. Um, yeah, there's no water there. They could have stumbled into that, would have washed them out to sea. No, well, I already did a video on the only waterway that could take them out to sea. The closest, I should say the closest, which is only 15 minutes away. Um, yeah, and it's a very popular fishing spot, and it's at the end of the river just before the mouth of it opens. And which anybody knows, like anybody knows that. I'm from here. I know that. Like what's on that side of the river, right? And that you just go a little bit further down and around a bend, and that's where the mouth of the river is. It just widens open. Um, but now, I mean, it was raining a lot then. There's spots that are not very deep, like Camp was saying, closer to the causeway, but it was raining a lot during this period, so the water would have been higher. But that to me would be the only area that is close enough that anybody in a certain time frame, unless they were abducted and somebody took them away somewhere for a certain amount of time and then took them to another waterway. I don't know, right? Uh, I don't know what to think. I think that they were picked up, but now I wonder if it was arranged. Yeah. There's something about that blanket. Oh yeah. That whole thing, like that just doesn't make sense. And when I think of that blanket, I don't believe Malaya's side of the family planted a blanket. Well, how would they even it just doesn't make sense. How would they even ever know that that blanket was there? Like and would know to take it and plant like it just doesn't make sense. Um so then I thought about, well, who did know who the blanket was there? Well, it's Malaya, Daniel, and Janie. And I always said, in my video that I did, what if Malaya and Daniel are telling the truth? Because remember, they're each other's alibis. What if they were in bed till around 9:40? And what if it was Janie who opened the door and let the kids out quietly and then quietly closed the door? Um, and what if it was her that had something to do with that blanket being pulled out of that garbage because she knew it was in there? Um, yeah. So, and they searched Janie's trailer 3 times with the dog. So it just me, I just thought, I know we keep looking at Daniel and Malaya, but maybe people should be taking a harder look at, and hopefully the police are, at Janie as well, right? They're all possible suspects. Um, I wish our CMP worked like California for baby Emmanuel. Yeah, I know, eh? Yeah, quick, very quick. But they must have had something to be able to do that, right? Like the officer said in quotes there, because they can't find Lily and Jack, like they don't have that uh how did he put it? Let's see. An unidentified investigator's comment included at the end of the section of the results of both of those polygraphs says, at this point in the investigation, Jack and Lily's disappearance is not believed to be criminal in nature. I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense occurred because Jack and Lily are still missing. Polygraph examinations were conducted with the intention of ruling out that possibility. At at this point in the investigation, was there a date on that? May 12th. The first one in May 12th. An unidentified investigator's comment included at the end of the section of the polygraphs. Okay, so this would be around May 12th. So that's pretty early in the investigation, guys. This is on May 12th, okay? That's pretty early. Uh, I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense has occurred because Jack and Lily are both missing. Polygraph examinations were conducted with the intention of ruling out that possibility. Yeah. So I mean that's like what a week couple of weeks after they went missing, if that. When did I say? The 12th? Yeah, it's not even 2 weeks after they went missing, May 12th. So that's very early on that this officer made this statement. It's in quotations, so it's a statement. Yeah. 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 Exactly, right? Yeah, it could. Like they'll ask you what you're on and then they'll know that okay, that's one of the drugs that can interfere with a polygraph, right? Hi Nova and everyone. Hi. Mary Randy. You would think if they had the dogs hit on the death at trailer, they would have brought in fully trained cadaver dog. They could have. That's the other thing. That's the other thing. They're not going to announce that. Like they're not going to say, "Okay, everyone, here's the cadaver dog." Um, in my opinion. No, actually I've been told that. They're not going to do that. A dog is a dog, right? And they're not going to let you know that this is specifically a cadaver dog that's going to pick up on certain things. They're probably not going to tell you that. You mean Janie? What would her motive be? Well, typically motives are has to do with money, uh, jealousy, or what's the other one? There's three of them. Money, jealousy. Oh my goodness. Why won't the third one come to me? There's three. uh, I could see Janie jealous for sure. The jealousy thing. Starlink is just regular Wi-Fi. Oh yeah, well in the article didn't it say that it was an app that she had to have to be able to use her phone? Yeah, the hermit lifestyle. Yeah. Water would be risky. Yeah, it would be. Yep. I think anything is risky when if something like that happens, something nefarious, and the person has to get rid of that person, any of it's risky, right? Like a burial site can be noticeable, putting them in water, certain things can happen there. Um, oh, there's other stuff that people do that leaves red stuff around. That's risky. But when things happen and they're not planned out, uh, and then you quickly have to decide what to do, it's gonna be risky, right? Because it wasn't well thought out. You just pay for the bandwidth and Starlink. You don't need extra data for your phone. Starlink works the same as Wi-Fi. You still need to be in range of your receiver. Okay. Because when I read about it, it said that like there's plans that come with data. Um, and it's only a small amount of data. And then you can buy more data, but it's to me, I thought very expensive. Um, and that you needed that data in order to use your phone. Just like if I have to use it from my Wi-Fi here, um, if or like if the power goes out or whatever, I have to use data through my supplier's service or whatever. Um, but when I read about Starlink, that's what it said. It said that you have to pay for data, and it said the cost in order for you to be able to make phone calls and texts and stuff like that. Um, yeah, the hermit lifestyle. Yeah, I know, but the children were a thorn in Janie's side. I agree. They were disturbing her peace, and that is the motive. Yeah, yeah. Barb, hi Barb. RCMP messed up. Dylan Eeler too. I thought that was that. I thought that was the oh my gosh, the Truro police that worked on his case. Um, was it RCMP? I mean RCMP. They probably had them assist with some things, possibly, but I thought that was Truro police. But that quote was made only 2 weeks into the investigation, right? Yeah, exactly, Drippy. Yep, yep. Getting her piece back, etc. Exactly, Mike. Yeah, yeah. I could see some feelings of jealousy there for sure. Uh, you know, just with her personality. And I mean, I don't want to go blaming anybody for anything they didn't do because that'd be a horrible thing to do. But something happened to those children. I mean, something happened. They didn't just go missing, and not be in the woods. Something happened, and like I said, if police is going to rule an abduction out, which they keep saying no signs of an abduction, and something nefarious took place on the property, well, then get out there and find the kids. Like, they come on. Like, where are they then? Um, I'm just looking something up here. Uh, oh, vengeance. That's what it is. Vengeance. Um, yeah, so that would kind of fit in there too. Yeah, money, love slash jealousy, or vengeance. Um, loathing. Yeah, and that's in with the vengeance. Yeah, the loathing, the vengeance. Yeah. Um, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that all kind of seems obvious that she didn't really care for any of them being there, I don't think, except for uh Meadow. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why anybody would ever do anything like that to a child, whether it be, if any one of them on that property did anything to the children. Don't know why anyone would, you know, but something happened. Something happened. Yeah. All right, guys. It is past 2 hours. I'm going to have to go get supper started. I wonder where Jack learned. Right. Oh, as soon as I heard that, that he was throwing shoes at the bus driver, at his boots, I was like, okay, well, he learned that somewhere. Like some stuff you just know because you've seen stuff, dealt with stuff, gone through stuff that you just pretty much know as soon as you hear it. Okay, well, obviously he saw somebody do that and he's repeating that action. Yeah, maybe someone a bit less mobile with a limp. Huh? I'm confused. Nova, I think your original idea for today's live, to go back to the beginning, is now much needed after today's confusing articles. Yes. Yeah. So we'll do that tomorrow, okay? We'll go back and do that. Um there's only a little bit to add to it. Pretty much everything we read I had already had in there. There's only maybe a couple of things. The CBC had some more stuff about Malaya there. So I can add that. Um yeah, and we'll do that tomorrow, okay? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Lots of love, lots of positive vibes. So probably most likely I will be on tomorrow. And we'll do that tomorrow. We'll go back from the beginning and go right through till what we just learned today. Okay. So thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, share if you wish. Um, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.